Imagine getting paid to learn internet skills, and not in dollars, but in like a new currency that kind of bypasses traditional banks.
Yeah.
You know, it might sound like something out of science fiction, but that's exactly what happened to Parisa Ahmadi in Afghanistan.
Right.
Her story offers like a glimpse into the potential of Bitcoin to like revolutionize how we think about money.
Yeah, it's a really powerful example of how Bitcoin can empower individuals, especially in places where, access to traditional financial systems is limited. But
Yeah.
to fully grasp the significance of Parisa's story, I think we need to take a step back
Okay.
and really delve into the history of money itself.
Yeah, starting from the
Right.
very beginning.
Exactly.
Today, we're going to explore that evolution from like the earliest forms of barter all the way to the emergence of Bitcoin.
Right.
And our guide for this journey is The Age of Cryptocurrency by Paul Vigna and Michael J. Casey.
Yeah, the book really provides a fantastic framework for understanding the forces that have shaped money over centuries. And one of the key themes that emerges is this struggle for control over money, like who gets to decide its value.
Right. And like, who do you trust more?
Exactly.
So let's start at the very beginning with the barter system.
Okay.
Seems so simple, right? You trade a chicken for a bushel of wheat or a cow for a plow. But then what happens when, the blacksmith only wants pottery, not chickens,
Right.
and the potter has all the wheat they need?
Yeah, the barter system quickly reveals its limitations, right? It relies on this double coincidence of wants, meaning that both parties need to actually desire what the other person has, and that can seriously limit trade and economic growth.
It really makes you appreciate the ingenuity of like the Yap Islanders
Yeah.
and their giant stone discs as currency.
The race stones?
Yeah, no more chickens and plows.
Right.
But here's the fascinating part. These stones were so huge, they were like impossible to move, so their value was based entirely on communal trust and memory.
Yeah, it's such a great illustration of the importance of trust in any monetary system.
Yeah.
Even though the currency itself was immobile, their shared belief in its value gave it legitimacy. It's a powerful reminder that, money at its core is a social construct.
Absolutely. So then we move on to metal coins.
Okay.
They're more portable, more divisible and durable than big stones, right?
Right.
But they also introduce a new problem. Governments couldn't resist the temptation to tinker with the system.
Oh,
They started debasing the currency for their own gain.
right.
Like imagine emperors just like shaving off bits of gold from coins to make more,
Classic.
decreasing the value in the process. So sneaky.
Yeah, and it highlights this fundamental tension that runs through the history of money, the struggle between centralized control and individual freedom.
Yeah.
Like, who do you trust more, the tangible asset like gold, or a government that might manipulate the value of your money for their own benefit?
Right. It's a constant battle.
It is.
And then, boom, paper money enters the scene in China, revolutionizing trade and finance.
It's a game changer.
But even then, that battle for control between the private and public sectors continued to rage.
Absolutely. This struggle is central to understanding Bitcoin's origins. Really, it's a direct response to the inherent flaws of those centralized systems.
Mhm.
A push for a decentralized alternative where no single entity can dictate the value of your money.
And fast forward to the Nixon shock of 1971, the U.S. abandons the gold standard, and fiat currency becomes the norm.
A pivotal moment.
And suddenly, trust in money becomes this global game of who do you believe in more?
What's so fascinating here is how trust in money becomes relative and fluid, no longer tied to a fixed standard like gold. The value of fiat currencies is determined by global markets and faith in the issuing government. It's a system built on a very complex web of trust and confidence.
And then, of course, the 2008 financial crisis, where that trust in those centralized financial institutions just crumbles.
This huge turning point.
People were left wondering, is there a better way, a system that's more resilient and transparent and accountable?
This moment is absolutely crucial for understanding the emergence of Bitcoin. It represents a profound loss of faith in the traditional financial system, a yearning for an alternative that is decentralized, transparent, and resistant to the kind of manipulation that led to that crisis. It's from these ashes that Bitcoin arises as a potential solution.
Right.
This idea that maybe we can do things differently.
A new hope.
Exactly.
And from those ashes, a new idea emerges: Bitcoin, this radical solution conceived by the enigmatic Satoshi Nakamoto, whose true identity remains a mystery to this day.
Yeah, it's a mystery that just adds to the intrigue of Bitcoin, right? Is Satoshi like a single brilliant mind or a group of individuals working together?
Yeah.
We may never know for sure, but Their creation has undeniably shaken the foundations of the financial world.
It's like something out of a spy novel.
I know, right?
But beyond the mystery, what's truly remarkable is how Bitcoin was introduced to the world. It was 2009, the financial crisis was still unfolding, and embedded in the very first block of the Bitcoin blockchain was this headline from the Times of London: Chancellor on brink of second bailout for banks.
That headline was a clear signal, a message from Satoshi that Bitcoin was a direct response to the failures of the traditional financial system. It was a call for a decentralized alternative free from the control of governments and central banks.
Talk about a bold statement.
Yeah.
But let's get down to the basics.
Yeah.
What exactly is Bitcoin? How does this decentralized trustless system actually work?
So imagine a digital ledger called a blockchain that's distributed across a vast network of computers. Every Bitcoin transaction is recorded on this ledger, and it's secured by cryptography. It's like a public record of every Bitcoin transaction that's ever taken place, and it's virtually impossible to tamper with.
Okay, I'm starting to get the picture, but you also mentioned something called mining. What's that all about?
Mining is the process that secures the Bitcoin network and verifies transactions. Miners use powerful computers to solve complex mathematical problems. The first miner to solve the problem gets to add a new block of transactions to the blockchain and is rewarded with newly created Bitcoins.
So it's like a digital gold rush where miners are competing to solve these problems and earn Bitcoin rewards.
Exactly. And the more miners there are, the more secure the network becomes. It's a self-regulating system that incentivizes participation and makes it incredibly difficult for any single entity to control the blockchain.
It's a fascinating concept, but it sounds incredibly complex. In those early days, was Bitcoin just a niche experiment for tech enthusiasts?
In a way, yes, Bitcoin was a novelty, its value fluctuating wildly. There's this famous story of a programmer who bought 2 pizzas with 10,000 Bitcoins back in 2010. If he had held on to those Bitcoins, they'd be worth millions today.
Wow, that's some serious pizza regret. But those early days were crucial for Bitcoin's development, paving the way for the first major Bitcoin exchange, Mt. Gox.
Yeah. Mt. Gox was a pivotal moment in Bitcoin's history. It facilitated early adoption, but it also faced tremendous challenges with security and regulation. Its eventual collapse was a major setback, but it also served as a valuable lesson for the cryptocurrency world.
It highlights those growing pains of any new technology, especially one that challenges the established financial order. But amidst the chaos, Bitcoin continued to gain traction. The Cypriot financial crisis in 2013 was another turning point. People saw Bitcoin as a potential lifeline, an escape from a failing banking system.
Right. The Cypriot crisis fueled interest in Bitcoin as a safe haven asset, pushing its price to new highs. It also attracted the attention of venture capitalists who began pouring millions into Bitcoin startups and infrastructure. This influx of capital further legitimized the cryptocurrency.
But we can't ignore the darker side of those early days. Silk Road, the infamous online marketplace, used Bitcoin to facilitate illicit transactions. It brought negative attention to Bitcoin and raised concerns about its potential for misuse.
Yeah, Silk Road's story underscores a key challenge for cryptocurrency, balancing individual freedom with the need to prevent criminal activity. It's a debate that continues to this day as governments grapple with how to regulate this decentralized and often anonymous technology.
And speaking of setbacks, the collapse of Mt. Gox in 2014 sent shockwaves through the Bitcoin community. Hundreds of thousands of Bitcoins vanished overnight, leaving many investors empty-handed and raising serious questions about the security of cryptocurrency exchanges.
The Mt. Gox debacle was a painful reminder that even in a decentralized system, trust and security are paramount. It led to significant improvements in the way cryptocurrency is stored and exchanged, but it also damaged Bitcoin's reputation.
So we have this revolutionary technology with its potential to disrupt global finance, but also facing serious challenges with security regulation and public perception. It's a fascinating and complex story, and we've only just scratched the surface.
Exactly. To truly understand Bitcoin, we need to delve deeper into the process of mining, which is at the heart of its security and decentralization. It's also where things get really interesting, as the pursuit of Bitcoin rewards has led to a technological arms race unlike anything we've ever seen.
Okay, let's get technical. Tell me more about this mining arms race and what it means for the future of Bitcoin. Okay, so we've got these miners competing to solve these complex problems to earn Bitcoin rewards. It sounds like a high-stakes game of digital chess.
Yeah, it is in a way.
But what does this mining arms race actually look like in practice?
Well, it's been a pretty remarkable evolution. In the early days, people were mining Bitcoin using just their personal computers. But as the value of Bitcoin increased, so did the competition.
Right, makes sense.
So miners started using more powerful graphics cards than specialized hardware called ASICs that were designed specifically for Bitcoin mining.
So it's this constant push for more computing power with miners investing in like increasingly sophisticated technology just to stay ahead of the curve.
Exactly, and this has led to a dramatic increase in the network's hash rate, which is basically a measure of its overall computing power. The higher the hash rate, the more secure the network becomes. But it also means that mining becomes more difficult and more energy intensive.
Yeah, that brings up some important questions about sustainability. Is Bitcoin mining like an environmental drain?
It's a valid concern. Bitcoin mining does consume a significant amount of energy, and there's been a lot of debate about its environmental impact. However, it's important to consider the source of that energy. Increasingly, miners are turning to renewable sources like solar and hydropower to power their operations.
That's encouraging. It sounds like the Bitcoin community is taking the issue of sustainability seriously. But are there other challenges associated with this mining arms race?
One concern is mining pool centralization. As mining becomes more difficult, individual miners often join forces in these mining pools to increase their chances of earning rewards. But if a single pool controls a majority of the hash rate, it could potentially manipulate the blockchain.
Oh, I see. So there's a risk that the decentralized nature of Bitcoin could be undermined if too much power ends up concentrated in the hands of just a few.
That's the risk, and it's something that the Bitcoin community is actively working to address. They're exploring solutions like decentralized mining pools and technologies that make mining more accessible to individuals
Yeah.
so that it doesn't become this centralized thing.
Right. It's like we're constantly trying to keep that balance.
Yeah, exactly.
But let's shift gears for a moment. We've talked a lot about the technical side of Bitcoin, but I want to circle back to those stories of financial inclusion. What's the potential for Bitcoin to really empower individuals, especially in developing countries?
I think the potential is enormous. We've already heard Parisa Madi's story, but there are countless others. Bitcoin can provide access to financial services for people who are excluded from traditional banking systems. It can facilitate cross-border payments, remittances, and even microloans, all without the need for those traditional intermediaries.
It's like opening up a whole new world of possibilities for people who have been marginalized by like the existing financial system. Are there any other examples that kind of illustrate this potential?
Absolutely. Think about Roya Mahbub, the Afghan entrepreneur who used Bitcoin to pay women in her digital literacy program. Traditional banking in Afghanistan was often inaccessible, especially for women, but Bitcoin provided a way to overcome those barriers.
It's an inspiring example of how Bitcoin can be a force for social change, empowering women and promoting economic opportunity. But we've also talked about the challenges facing Bitcoin, like scalability, volatility regulation. So what's the big picture? Is Bitcoin the future of finance, or is it just a stepping stone to something else?
That's a question that sparks a lot of heated debate, and there's no easy answer. Some people believe that Bitcoin will eventually replace traditional currencies, while others see it coexisting alongside them. The truth is, it's still too early to say for sure.
So we're in this uncharted territory navigating like a financial revolution in real time. What does this all mean for like the average person? What should our listeners be thinking about as they consider the role of Bitcoin in their own lives?
I think the key takeaway is that Bitcoin and the underlying blockchain technology are really forces to be reckoned with.
Hmm.
They have the potential to completely transform the way we think about money finance and even governance. Whether you're a seasoned investor or just starting to learn about cryptocurrency, it's crucial to stay informed and engage in these conversations.
This deep dive has been like a whirlwind tour of the world of Bitcoin, from its mysterious origins to its potential to reshape the global economy. We've explored the technical intricacies, the social implications, and the challenges that lie ahead. But as we wrap up, I want to leave our listeners with a final thought.
The future of money is being written right now, and Bitcoin is at the forefront of that evolution. It's a story of innovation, disruption, and the enduring human desire for freedom and control. What role will you play in this unfolding narrative? That's the question we all need to be asking ourselves.